Deok-mi is the curator of Cha-shi-an Art Gallery and one of the leading experts in her field. She is devoted to her work, but has a very different life outside the office. Deok-mi is a secret fan of the famous idol Cha Shi-an. Under a pseudonym, she runs a fan site where she publishes daily photos and news about her favorite performer. This hobby is her secret, which she carefully hides from everyone but her closest friends. One day, an important event happens at work. The gallery announces the appointment of a new director, Ryan Gold. This successful artist, known for his unwavering character and sudden departure from the art world, is now to run the gallery where Deok-mi works. His past includes not only a sudden loss of interest in painting, but also a mystery related to his childhood. Ryan appears to be a cold, centered, and completely unapproachable man. When Deok-mi first meets Ryan at the gallery, she immediately senses his strong but reserved personality. Ryan, in turn, notices Deok-mi's professionalism and passion for art, although their interaction remains strictly formal. To him, she is just another employee with whom he needs to get along. However, Ryan immediately notices that there is something more behind Deok-mi's outward calmness. At the same time, Deok-mi is immersed in preparing for a new exhibition that will include Cha Shi-an's works. This puts her in a difficult position. As a professional, she has to remain serious and professional, but as a fan, she is eager to meet her idol. She does her best to keep her fan crush a secret. She even goes to Cha Shi-an concerts hiding under a mask and posts photos for fans, trying to avoid being seen by her colleagues. Meanwhile, Ryan, analyzing the work of the gallery staff, begins to notice some oddities in Deok-mi's behavior. He cannot understand why she is periodically absent from important meetings or looks as if she urgently needs to leave her workplace. It seems to him that she is hiding something, and this causes him professional interest. However, the real storm begins when rumors start spreading on the internet that Cha Shi-an is dating a mysterious girl. Fans online start looking for this girl, and suspicions start to fall on Deok-mi. These rumors begin to interfere with her personal life and work. Deok-mi does her best not to give away her connection to the fan life, but things start to get out of hand. At this time, Ryan decides to find out more about the gallery staff to get a better understanding of how they work and what they have going on outside of the office. He begins to notice that Deok-mi has some oddities in her behavior but doesn't know about her fan side yet. He starts following her work and analyzing her behavior, trying to figure out what exactly she's hiding. After a tense meeting with Ryan Gold, Deok-mi begins to feel the pressure that accompanies her at work. The new director of the gallery creates an atmosphere of strict control and demands the utmost professionalism from the staff. Ryan, for his part, wants to optimize the gallery and get to know his team better. His gaze keeps stopping at Deok-mi, who is clearly hiding something, and he becomes more and more interested in her. Meanwhile, things are also happening in Deok-mi's fan life. Cha Shi-an, her idol, is preparing for an important gallery exhibition, which means incredible pressure for her. She needs to remain professional at work, though the fan's heart inside her beats faster and faster at the mere thought of meeting Shi-an. The fan site she runs is actively discussing the details of the show, and Deok-mi participates in the discussions under her fan nickname, going unnoticed by her colleagues. Meanwhile, Ryan continues to study Deok-mi's behavior. He notices her abrupt disappearances in the middle of the workday and her return with barely perceptible excitement on her face. He is certain that she is not as simple as she seems. His analytical mind and professional interest push him to better understand what is behind these strange behaviors. Deok-mi, while trying to cope with the pressure at work and secretly keep up with fan news, realizes that her secret life is increasingly intersecting with her professional life. Her fan passion for Cha Shi-an becomes even more complicated when coworkers start talking about an upcoming exhibition and discussing the idol himself. Deok-mi can barely contain her excitement, trying to maintain a semblance of complete indifference to the event. One day, Ryan witnesses Deok-mi leaving the gallery in a hurry after receiving a message on her phone. He notices her aloofness and decides to follow her. As a result, he discovers that Deok-mi ends up at a fan event related to Cha Shi-an. This scene surprises him. How can such a professional woman be so caught up in the life of an idol? This discovery makes him even more curious and sympathetic, though he doesn't yet understand how it relates to her work. Back at the gallery, Deok-mi faces a new challenge. Ryan starts asking her questions about her hobbies. He starts watching her behavior at work more closely and her reactions when it comes to Cha Shi-an. This causes her to panic, but she tries to remain calm and not give herself away. At the same time, rumors that a certain mysterious girl is dating Cha Shi-an begin to spread in the fan community. These rumors reach Deok-mi's workplace, and her co-workers begin to suspect that she might be involved with the idol. Deok-mi finds herself trapped. On the one hand, she is afraid that her fan life will become known at work, but on the other hand, she can't give up her passion. The situation heats up when Ryan takes a more active interest in her personal life. He sees her professional accomplishments, but suspects there is something more behind it. He can't understand why such a dedicated woman behaves so strangely outside of work. His analytical mind continues to search for answers, and this brings him closer to discovering Deok-mi's secret. Meanwhile, Deok-mi herself realizes that her double life is becoming increasingly dangerous. She needs to find a way to cope with the mounting tension at work and in her fan life. But the more she tries to hide her passion, the more she risks being exposed to her coworkers And, worst of all, to Ryan Gold. At work, Deok-mi tries to keep herself as professional as possible, but her tension doesn't escape Ryan's gaze. He realizes there's a direct connection between her behavior and her secrets, and it makes him even more interested. He begins to consider finding out more about her personal life and what makes her so mysterious. After Ryan Gold begins to suspect that there is more behind Sung Deok-mi's professional facade, their working relationship becomes increasingly strained. He increasingly notices her strange behavior and disappearances from work. Deok-mi can't seem to cope with maintaining a balance between her professional life and her fan duties. Meanwhile, the gallery is actively preparing a new exhibition related to Cha Shi-an's involvement, making Deok-mi's life even more difficult. Ryan, being a person who is used to analyzing and solving problems, begins to hypothesize about Deok-mi. He can't understand what fascination or mystery makes her behave unusually so often. Her professionalism as a curator remains excellent, but her personal life is of genuine interest to him. Deok-mi, for her part, realizes that Ryan is starting to notice her secrets, and this causes her even more tension. Things aren't going well on the fan front either. Due to the increasing rumors that Deok-mi is allegedly in a relationship with Cha Shi-an, the idol's fans are starting to act more aggressively. Many of them try to find out the identity of the girl allegedly spotted next to their idol, and it becomes a threat to her anonymity. Deok-mi realizes that she needs to take action to protect her privacy and work from fan invasion. Meanwhile, preparations continue at the gallery for an exhibition that is to showcase some of Cha Shi-an's work. This is an important event for Deok-mi as a curator, but also a huge challenge as a fan. She tries to keep her distance and maintain her image as a professional. But every time she sees posters or items related to Cha Shi-an, her fan heart starts beating faster. She tries to keep her emotions in check so that no one suspects her true connection to this world. Ryan begins to observe how Deok-mi reacts to Cha Shi-an's discussions at work. He notices that every time his name is mentioned, Deok-mi acts a little differently, sometimes too excited, sometimes too calm, as if trying to hide her true feelings. This only heightens his suspicions. He's becoming more and more convinced that there's a connection between Deok-mi and the idol, although he doesn't understand what it is yet. Meanwhile, working on the exhibition takes a lot of energy from Deok-mi, and she begins to feel tired from the constant need to keep both sides of her life in balance. She realizes that her double life could ruin both her career and her reputation among fans if the truth comes out. Her fear of being exposed in front of her coworkers and Ryan grows ever stronger. However, the situation takes an unexpected turn when Ryan accidentally stumbles upon one of Cha Shi-an's photos taken from a fan site run by Deok-mi. He doesn't immediately realize that the photo was taken by her, but he begins to research the fan community associated with Cha Shi-an. During one such research, he stumbles upon a fan site where Deok-mi has left several comments. Ryan doesn't know it's her, but he becomes curious about the site's administrator. Meanwhile, Deok-mi realizes that Ryan has begun to take an inordinate interest in her personal life. This makes her increasingly nervous, and she begins to think that her secret may soon be revealed. She tries to keep her distance from Ryan so as not to give him any more reason to be suspicious, but this only increases his desire to find out what is going on with his subordinate. As the day of the exhibition featuring Cha Shi-an approaches, tensions reach a peak. Deok-mi struggles to keep her composure, but her fan heart rejoices at the thought of seeing her idol so close. She does her best not to give away her feelings in front of her coworkers, but it's getting harder and harder. After Ryan Gold begins to closely monitor Sung Deok-mi's behavior, the situation at work becomes even more tense. Deok-mi is trying hard not to give away her secret, especially with the upcoming exhibition with Cha Shi-an. But her personal and professional lives begin to overlap to the point where it becomes increasingly difficult to hide her fan passion. Meanwhile, rumors of an affair between Cha Shi-an and the mystery girl continue to gain momentum. Fans are actively trying to find out her identity, and the situation heats up when fake photos allegedly confirming their relationship start circulating on the internet. Deok-mi, as the administrator of the fan site, has to react strongly to this and protect her idol from attacks. However, her double life only complicates things. She has to save face in front of her fans while remaining professional in the eyes of her colleagues. One day, during a work meeting at a gallery, Ryan asks Deok-mi unexpected questions about her hobbies. His interest in her personal life becomes all too apparent, and Deok-mi begins to suspect that he knows something. This causes her to panic, but she tries to remain calm and responds discreetly in an attempt to ward off suspicion. However, the tension in their communication becomes noticeable to everyone. The situation escalates when Ryan suggests that Deok-mi work with Cha Shi and to prepare the exhibition. This proposal puts Deok-mi in a difficult position. She dreams of meeting the idol as a fan, but realizes that as a professional she should keep her distance and not give away her passion. She agrees to the proposal, but internally prepares herself for the difficult moments. Meanwhile, Cha Shi-an's fans continue to speculate about who the mystery girl is, and suspicions begin to fall on Deok-mi. One fan, spotting her at an event next to Cha Shi-an, starts spreading rumors that Deok-mi might be the girl in question. These rumors quickly spread on social media and reach the gallery staff. Now Deok-mi not only has to hide from her fans, but also fears that her co-workers might start to suspect something amiss. To avoid further problems, Ryan proposes a radical solution. He suggests that Deok-mi pretend that they are dating. This, he thinks, will confuse fans and divert attention away from her relationship with Cha Shi-an. At first, Deok-mi is adamantly opposed to the idea. She's afraid that the lie will complicate her life even more, and that her relationship with Ryan will become even more strained. However, realizing that the situation has gone too far, she finally agrees. After starting to pretend to be a couple, Deok-mi and Ryan face many awkward situations. They are forced to spend more time together, leading to funny moments when they have to play their roles in public. However, something more begins to form behind this false relationship. Ryan increasingly notices how passionate Deok-mi is about her work, and how her dedication to her work and personal interests complement her as a person. He begins to see her not just as a co-worker, but as someone he is drawn to. Meanwhile, Deok-mi, trying to cope with the roles at work and in her personal life, realizes that her pretend relationship with Ryan is causing her unexpected emotions. At first, she only saw him as a strict boss who made her life difficult, but now she begins to notice that his support and attention are having a positive effect on her. They begin to understand each other better, which gradually grows into sincere sympathy. However, despite the emerging feelings, they both try to keep their distance and not let their emotions take over. Ryan remains cold, though his gestures of concern for Deok-mi become more and more obvious. Deok-mi, on the other hand, tries not to give away her inner turmoil, though their time together brings them closer and closer. The pretend relationship between Sung Deok-mi and Ryan Gold becomes more complicated than they could have anticipated. At work and outside of work, they are forced to maintain the image of a couple, which leads to many funny and awkward situations. At the same time, Deok-mi is feeling the growing tension of trying to balance her fan hobbies with her responsibilities as a professional. Her friends start asking more and more questions about her new relationship, and her co-workers show genuine curiosity. Ryan, despite his initial cold attitude, begins to see Deok-mi as more than just a colleague. He gradually realizes that there is a sincere passion behind her fan activities, which in some ways mirrors his own experiences. He has new questions about how such an intelligent and successful woman can be so fascinated by the life of an idol. However, his interest grows into something more. He begins to realize that he is drawn to her. An exhibition featuring Cha Shi-an becomes a major project for the entire gallery. Deok-mi, as a curator, has to constantly work with Shi-an's team and organize events, which creates incredible stress for her. Every time she has to make contact with her idol, she does her best to hide her excitement, as her fan side literally trembles with happiness. However, she must remain serious and professional at the same time so as not to give herself away. Ryan watches her interactions with Shi-an closely and notices her unusual reactions. He doesn't yet realize that she's his loyal fan, but he senses that there's something special here. In an attempt to understand Deok-mi better, he starts spending more time with her outside of work, using their fake relationship as an excuse to get closer. They go out to dinners together, meet with coworkers, and even spend more time alone, where they begin to get to know each other not only as a mentor and director, but also as individuals. One of the unexpected moments is when Cha Shi-an also takes an interest in Deok-mi. He becomes curious as to why she works so professionally and coolly with his team, yet seems so different from the other curators. He expresses his respect for her work, and Deok-mi can barely contain her emotions, for she is facing her idol. Inside she is a fan, but outwardly she remains calm and collected. One day Ryan unexpectedly suggests Deok-mi to spend some time together to distract herself from the stress of work. They go to a museum where they both immerse themselves in a discussion about art. It is at this point that Deok-mi begins to realize that her feelings for Ryan go deeper than just a working or pretend relationship. Her heart begins to beat faster as they share personal thoughts and worries about the past. Ryan also begins to open up about his emotions. As they walk, he mentions that he lost inspiration in painting a long time ago due to personal traumas, and that it was his past that caused him to leave the art world. This confession elicits Deok-mi's sincere sympathy, and she begins to see him not just as a cold boss, but as a man with deep heartache. She wants to support him, but fears that it might change the dynamics of their game and create more problems. Their relationship becomes even more complicated when they face growing rumors among their colleagues. Some coworkers begin to suspect that their pretend relationship may be real, and this makes Deok-mi feel increasingly uncomfortable. She begins to wonder how far they can take this game before feelings get completely out of control. The pretend relationship between Sung Deok-mi and Ryan Gold continues to grow, and now it's getting harder and harder to maintain the facade. Both Deok-mi and Ryan begin to realize that their feelings go beyond the usual game. Meanwhile, work continues at the gallery and preparations for the Cha Shi-an exhibition become more and more intense. Deok-mi tries to maintain a professional demeanor, though her fan emotions rage inside her, especially when she interacts with Shi-an in person. For Deok-mi, every workday becomes a challenge. She spends more and more time with Ryan, pretending to be his girlfriend, but her own feelings for him begin to interfere with this theater. Every day she realizes more and more that her pretend relationship with Ryan is no longer just a game, but something more. Sympathy slowly builds in her heart, and she can't ignore the fact that she is drawn to his sincerity and caring hidden behind his cold image. One day, while preparing for an important event at the gallery, Ryan begins to notice a change in Deok-mi's behavior. He realizes that her efforts to hide her feelings are causing her to become increasingly tense. He also notices that their relationship is beginning to affect his own emotions. He finds it increasingly difficult to stay cool and not show his affection for her. When they are alone together, Ryan catches himself thinking that his heart is beating faster around Deok-mi. He tries to suppress his feelings, but it becomes almost impossible. Meanwhile, Cha Shi-an fans continue to suspect that someone in the gallery may be related to their idol, and the focus falls back on Deok-mi. More rumors are popping up on social media, and Deok-mi is finding it increasingly difficult to hide her secret life. She continues to pretend that her fan crush has nothing to do with her work, but every time she interacts with Shi-an, it becomes increasingly difficult for her to maintain that mask. At the same time, Ryan continues to watch her and sees her getting more engrossed in working with Shi-an's exhibit every day, trying not to show her connection to the fan community. He begins to wonder what this all has to do with her strange behavior. Ryan realizes that Deok-mi is clearly hiding something, and decides to find out more about her life outside of the gallery. One evening, Ryan suggests that Deok-mi take a walk after work. It's an unexpected proposition for her, but she agrees, hoping it will help her get her mind off her fan worries. During the walk, they discuss not only work, but also their personal experiences. Deok-mi talks about how important her work at the gallery is to her and how difficult it is to maintain a balance between her professional and personal life. Ryan, in turn, opens up to her and talks about his past failures in his career as an artist. They begin to share what they used to keep to themselves. This revelation brings them closer together, and they begin to feel that their pretend relationship is turning into something more real. Deok-mi begins to realize that her feelings for Ryan can no longer be hidden, but she fears it will ruin their working relationship. Ryan, for his part, realizes that he's falling more and more in love with her, but is also unsure how this will affect their fake game. In parallel, Deok-mi's relationship with Cha Shi-an becomes increasingly strained when he unexpectedly shows interest in her as a person, not just an exhibition curator. This further complicates her situation. On the one hand, she continues to admire him as a fan, but on the other hand, she begins to have mixed feelings about the way Ryan treats her. There comes a moment when Deok-mi and Ryan find themselves alone together at a gallery meeting. There is a tense silence between them, at which point Ryan decides to break it. He looks at Deok-mi and finally admits that his feelings for her have become real. He can't pretend anymore, and this isn't just a game to him. Deok-mi is stunned when she hears these words. She can't believe for a long time that Ryan, who she thought was cold-blooded and professional, could have such feelings for her. After Ryan's confession, their relationship with Sung Deok-mi takes on a new meaning. Deok-mi finds herself at a loss. Her heart is at odds with her common sense, as she has long thought of Ryan as just a strict boss and playmate. Now she realizes that she has real feelings for him. This scares her, because she fears that their real connection could ruin everything, both their professional relationship and the fake game they've maintained for so long. Deok-mi tries to keep her distance as she tries to sort through her emotions. Every time she sees Ryan at work or in meetings, her heart beats faster. She can't look at him the way she used to, but she can't completely shut out her feelings either. Ryan, for his part, decides not to push her. He realizes that this is still a difficult situation for Deok-mi, but now he's willing to wait for her decision. Meanwhile, the fan side of Deok-mi's life continues to add to the tension. Rumors about her possible connection with Cha Shi-an are not going away, and it's starting to seriously bother her. Shi-an, noticing that she's avoiding him, tries to talk to her and figure out what's going on. It's another emotional challenge for Deok-mi, as she continues to hide her true feelings for him as a fan. She can't afford to reveal herself to either Shi-an or the fans, as it could completely ruin her life. However, the situation becomes even more complicated when Ryan decides to find out what attracts Deok-mi so strongly to the idol world. He begins to investigate the fan community in order to understand her better. During one of his investigations, he accidentally finds a fan site that runs Deok-mi under a pseudonym. At first, he doesn't realize that this is her site exactly, but as he delves deeper into the content and posts, he begins to guess that Deok-mi is not just a curator, but an active participant in fan culture. The realization that Deok-mi is hiding such an important part of her life causes Ryan to have mixed feelings. On the one hand, he admires her passion, but on the other hand, he realizes that it's another wall between them. Ryan is faced with an internal dilemma. Should he reveal his hunches and admit that he knows about her secret life, or continue to watch from the sidelines, respecting her secret? While Ryan ponders how to proceed, Deok-mi continues to agonize over the uncertainty of their relationship. She realizes that her love for Ryan is growing stronger, but can't deal with the guilt of hiding her fan life for so long. Things get complicated when Ryan invites her out for a walk again, determined to have a frank conversation. During their meeting, Ryan cautiously strikes up a conversation about how it's important for everyone to have their hobbies and personal secrets. He hints that he knows about her fan interests, but doesn't reveal his guesses directly. Deok-mi begins to suspect that Ryan may know more than he's saying, and that scares her. But his friendly tone and encouragement show her that he doesn't judge her, but rather admires her passion. After this conversation, Deok-mi realizes that she can no longer hide her fan life and her feelings for Ryan. She starts preparing to tell him the whole truth. it's hard for her, because she doesn't know how he'll react. But after all these weeks of being around him, she realizes she has to be honest if she wants to save their relationship. After Sung Deok-mi reveals her secret about being a fan to Ryan Gold, their relationship goes to a new level. No longer can they pretend to be a couple just for the sake of the outside world. Their connection is now becoming real, but with that comes new complications. Deok-mi is relieved that she no longer has to hide an important part of her life, and at the same time she begins to realize that their relationship will become more complicated because of her double life as a curator and devoted fan. Ryan accepts her infatuation without judgment, which further builds the trust between them. He recognizes that being a fan is more than just a hobby, but a way to express oneself and support what brings joy and inspiration. However, despite his understanding, Deok-mi realizes that her fan life can still cause problems at work and in their personal lives. Now that they have decided not to pretend, Ryan and Deok-mi begin to build their relationship on honesty. They spend more time together, and their dinners or outings together no longer seem artificial. Instead, they begin to enjoy each other for real. Ryan, previously withdrawn and reserved, gradually opens up to Deok-mi, talking about his past experiences, traumas, and disappointments that made him walk away from painting. For him, these conversations become therapy, and for Deok-mi, an opportunity to better understand his inner world. However, even as they grow closer, new difficulties arise. The gallery begins to discuss their real relationship, and this causes some tension among their colleagues. They begin to notice their closeness and question how much their personal feelings can affect their professional work. Deok-mi has to cope with the disapproval of some coworkers who believe that her relationship with the director could create problems in the work process. Ryan, for his part, does not react to the gossip and continues to act reserved and professional at work, trying to protect Deok-mi from unnecessary attention. Meanwhile, Cha Shi-an, who is becoming increasingly interested in Deok-mi's life, also notices a change in their relationship. He guesses that there's something going on between her and Ryan, and it gives him mixed feelings. He begins to question her personal life, since up until this point she seemed completely immersed in her work. Shi-an decides to discuss it with Deok-mi, which puts her in a difficult position. During another meeting with Shi-an as they work on preparing his exhibition, he suddenly starts asking personal questions. Shi-an gently hints that he noticed their closeness with Ryan, and that it was a surprise to him. Deok-mi, feeling awkward, tries to remain calm and not reveal too many details, though her heart flutters at the thought that Shi-an is beginning to notice her as a person, not just a handler. However, this conversation makes her realize that her relationship with Ryan can no longer be hidden. She realizes that everything that happens between them will sooner or later become known, and it could affect not only their personal lives, but also their careers at the gallery. She realizes that their bond is growing deeper, but also more vulnerable to outside circumstances. During this time, Ryan continues to struggle with his own fears and doubts. He realizes that his feelings for Deok-mi are becoming too serious, and this causes him to consider his future. His past, involving the loss of his mother and the trauma that caused him to stop drawing, still weighs on him. He wants to open up to Deok-mi, but he is afraid that his inner turmoil will affect their relationship. After Ryan reveals to Deok-mi his worries about losing his interest in painting and the trauma of his past, their relationship becomes deeper and more candid. Deok-mi realizes that this was a huge step for Ryan, as he rarely talks about his personal issues. In return, she shares her own fears about her double life as a fan and professional. Now they both feel that they can finally trust each other completely, and their bond grows stronger. However, new problems are not far behind. Deok-mi begins to feel pressure from her co-workers. Many don't like her closeness with the director, and this causes cranks and discussions in the gallery. Some co-workers begin to wonder if she can remain objective at work while in a relationship with Ryan. The gossip and judgments become more and more blatant, and this causes Deok-mi to feel guilty, though she tries to remain professional. Ryan notices how all this pressure is affecting Deok-mi and suggests that they take a break from work and spend time together to take a break from the circumstances around them. They decide to go to the countryside to get away from their daily routine and just enjoy each other. Deok-mi agrees, feeling that this is really what they need right now. During their trip, Ryan and Deok-mi find time to talk about more serious topics. They discuss not only their personal lives, but also the future, including how their relationship might affect their careers. Ryan admits that his feelings for Deok-mi are so strong that he's willing to accept any consequences, even if it affects their work. It's important to him that they are happy together, and he's willing to fight for their relationship. This frank conversation helps Deok-mi calm down a bit. She realizes that Ryan is on her side, and that they can work through difficulties together. At the same time, her fan life is back in the spotlight. Despite her hiatus, Deok-mi continues to run her Cha Shi-an fan site, which again presents her with a dilemma. Can she continue to combine her personal life with her fan life without jeopardizing her relationship with Ryan? During this period, Cha Shi-an begins to notice that his interactions with Deok-mi go beyond the usual professional relationship. He sees her cautiously trying to hide her fan passion, but can't understand the reason for her reticence. Shan begins to show more interest in her, and their conversations become more personal, which further complicates her situation. This is a troubling moment for Deok-mi, as her love for Shi-an as a groupie conflicts with her real feelings for Ryan. When they return from their trip, Deok-mi begins to feel that she can no longer continue to hide her fan side. She decides that she has to be completely honest with Ryan, and confesses to him that her infatuation with Cha Shi-an was one of the most meaningful things in her life before she met him. Ryan, understanding her fears, expresses support again and says that her fan life shouldn't be something she should feel guilty about. It's important to him that Deok-mi found strength and support in this hobby when she needed it. Preparations for Cha Shi-an's exhibition at the gallery are in full swing, and for Sung Deok-mi, it becomes a real challenge. Not only does she have to maintain professionalism in her work, but she also has to hide her fan feelings. The situation is complicated by the fact that Ryan is now aware of her secret life but fully supports her. Despite this, tensions mount and Deok-mi begins to feel that her fan passion and professional responsibilities are increasingly overlapping. Cha Shi-an becomes increasingly attentive to Deok-mi, sensing some invisible attraction between them. He begins to spend more time at the gallery, interested in her opinions and admiring her professionalism. For Deok-mi, this becomes a challenge, as every time they are near each other, she has to hold back her emotions and fan passion. But now her thoughts are not only on Shi-an, but also on Ryan, who is by her side supporting her and helping her cope with the growing pressure. Ryan, watching what's going on, continues to be calm and confident. He sees how hard it is for Deok-mi but doesn't intervene directly, trusting her. Their relationship remains strong despite all the external circumstances. However, Ryan can't help but notice that the connection between Deok-mi and Shi-an is becoming more and more apparent. His feelings of jealousy gradually grow stronger, though he tries not to show it. In the midst of preparing for the exhibition, Deok-mi finds herself in the middle of an unexpected situation. One of her co-workers accidentally discovers that she runs a Cha Shi-an fan site and starts asking uncomfortable questions. Deok-mi realizes that her secret may be revealed, and it will have serious consequences for both her work and her personal life. She fears that if the truth comes out, it will affect her reputation as a professional. However, unexpectedly, Ryan decides to support her publicly. He takes her side, explaining to her colleagues that everyone is entitled to their hobbies, and that it does not affect her professional abilities. Thanks to his support, the situation is diffused and Deok-mi realizes that Ryan is ready to be by her side despite all the difficulties. After Ryan publicly supports Sung Deok-mi in a difficult situation, their relationship becomes even stronger. Deok-mi feels a deep sense of gratitude towards Ryan for taking her side when her fan life was threatened. She now realizes that her secret is no longer an obstacle in their relationship, and that she can be herself without fear of judgment from the man she loves. Meanwhile, the Cha Shi-an exhibition continues to gain momentum, and its success brings Deok-mi and the gallery well-deserved recognition. But despite all her professional achievements, her heart continues to be torn between her fan passion and real life. She still has strong feelings for Shi-an as an idol, but realizes that her real feelings belong to Ryan. This internal conflict is increasingly weighing on her. Ryan, watching Deok-mi deal with her emotions, suggests that she take her mind off work and relax a little. He invites her for a walk to one of his favorite places where they can be alone and talk in private. During this walk, they discuss their plans for the future. Ryan admits that his feelings for her have become more serious than he ever imagined. He says that he's willing to overcome any difficulties in their relationship and support her in everything, even if it's about her hobbies and fan life. Deok-mi is touched by his words. She feels for the first time that she can be completely honest and open with the person she loves. It's a huge relief for her, no more hiding her passion for the idol world, no more hiding behind professional obligations. She realizes that her relationship with Ryan is built on trust and support, which makes their bond even stronger. However, despite these moments of closeness, Cha Shi-an's situation continues to get more complicated. Shi-an, sensing that there is something more between Deok-mi and Ryan, begins to ask questions. He continues to show attention to Deok-mi, and his curiosity turns into a genuine interest in her life. Deok-mi feels that her fan side is starting to get in the way of her relationship with Ryan, and this causes her to feel guilty. She no longer wants to be a fan who hides behind the mask of a professional, but she also can't just give up something that has been an important part of her life for so many years. During one of the discussions about the exhibition, Shi-an unexpectedly invites Deok-mi to a private meeting to express her gratitude for her work. The gesture puts her in an awkward position. She can't refuse her idol, but realizes that it might make Ryan jealous. During their meeting, Shi-an shares his thoughts about his life and career, and Deok-mi begins to see him not only as an idol, but as an ordinary person with his own worries and fears. It becomes a moment of epiphany for her. Her love for Shi-an as a groupie fades into the background, giving way to real feelings for Ryan. Returning home after meeting Shi-an, Deok-mi realizes that her fan life is no longer at the forefront of her heart. She's ready to fully commit to a real relationship with Ryan. She no longer needs to pretend or hide, she can be honest with herself and those she cares about. Now she has a new goal: to find a balance between her professional career, relationships and hobbies without sacrificing any of them. After Deok-mi opens up to Ryan, telling him her thoughts and how her fan life has changed, their relationship takes on a new strength. Now there are no more secrets between them, and they can build their future on honesty and trust. Ryan supports her quest to keep a balance between her personal life, career and hobbies, realizing how important it is to her. Meanwhile, the gallery continues to work hard to finalize the Cha Shi-an exhibition. This big event brings success to the whole team, and Deok-mi receives well-deserved praise for her work. However, despite her outward calm, she feels an inner struggle. For years, Shi-an has been an inspiration and support to her, but now her real feelings for Ryan have changed the priorities in her life. Cha Shi-an, watching Deok-mi work and interact with her colleagues, realizes that there is something special between her and Ryan. He respects her professionalism, but also realizes that his interest in her goes beyond a normal working relationship. He decides to talk to her directly to find out what exactly is going on between them. Deok-mi is faced with a difficult choice. She has to explain to Cha-an that her feelings for him have always been on the level of fan admiration, and that her true love has only been with Ryan. She realizes that their conversation may be awkward, but it's a necessary step to put the matter to rest once and for all and move on. During their conversation, Deok-mi honestly confesses to Shi-an that she's been a devoted fan of his but never saw him as a real person, only as an idol. Now, however, she realizes that her life has changed and she has Ryan in her heart. Shi-an, though a little upset, respects her acceptance and realizes that their paths never crossed on a personal level. It's also important for him to see that fan admiration doesn't always turn into real feelings, and sometimes remains just inspiration and support. After this conversation, Deok-mi is relieved. Now her relationship with Shi-an remains within the professional realm, and she no longer feels the internal struggle. This frees her from unnecessary doubts, and she can focus on the present, her relationship with Ryan and her future work at the gallery. Ryan, upon hearing about the conversation with Cha-an, expresses his approval and support. He realizes how important this step was for Deok-mi, and is glad that she was able to set the record straight. Now they can move forward without looking back at the past. At this time, the gallery begins preparations for a new project, and Ryan suggests that Deok-mi take charge of it. This is a new challenge for her, but also an opportunity to show that she can handle any task. Ryan sees her not only as a talented mentor but also as someone who can lead a team. He is confident that Deok-mi is up to the task, and her confidence is slowly returning. Meanwhile, among Deok-mi and Ryan's co-workers, they are slowly getting used to their relationship. The gossip and discussions subside and their professional work remains at a high level. Deok-mi no longer feels pressured by others, because now she knows that she is supported not only by Ryan, but also by her own strength and confidence in her decisions. In parallel, their relationship with Ryan becomes more serious. They spend more time together, sharing not only work moments but also personal ones. Ryan, who has always been reserved and private, begins to open up to Deok-mi even more, telling her about his deepest feelings about the loss of his mother and his break with art. Deok-mi helps him overcome these difficulties by supporting him in his attempts to find inspiration for painting again. After the success of Cha Shi-an's exhibition and the completion of all related business, Sung Deok-mi and Ryan Gold's life gradually returns to normal. Their relationship is becoming more stable and they are spending more time together outside of work. However, Deok-mi has a new challenge ahead of her. She has agreed to take charge of a new project at the gallery that Ryan suggested. It's her first such big responsibility, and although she's a little nervous, she feels supported and confident thanks to Ryan. Work on the new project is well underway, and Deok-mi is immersed in organizational matters in an effort to live up to the trust. She faces challenges, as managing such a large-scale project requires not only excellent knowledge of the art, but also management skills. However, Deok-mi gets better at her tasks every day, and her colleagues begin to see her as a true leader. Ryan, watching her progress, is proud of the way Deok-mi is handling her new responsibilities. He realizes that her professional growth is an important milestone for her and for their relationship. They both feel that their bond is growing stronger as they support each other in both their personal and professional lives. Meanwhile, Deok-mi's relationship with Cha Shi-an has remained friendly and professional after their candid conversation. Shi-an also continues to work with the gallery, and although there is no tension between him and Deok-mi now, he remains an important part of her life as a friend. He respects her choices and appreciates her professionalism, and they continue to collaborate on future projects. However, despite his professional success, Ryan's personal worries still remain on the surface. He increasingly reflects on his past and what caused his break with painting. Deok-mi, seeing his inner turmoil, suggests that he try to pick up his brushes again to gradually regain his confidence. Ryan is hesitant at first, but inspired by her encouragement, he decides to give himself a chance. One evening, when they are spending time together, Ryan decides to show Deok-mi his old paintings that have been hidden away in his studio for a long time. This is a huge step for him, since he hasn't shown his work to anyone since he stopped painting. Deok-mi looks at his work with genuine admiration, noticing his talent and the depth of feeling put into each painting. She convinces him that his art deserves to be seen, and that perhaps the time to return to this pastime has come. This moment becomes a turning point for Ryan. He realizes that he no longer wants to hide from his pain and fear of art. Deok-mi becomes not only a source of support but also inspiration for him. Now he feels that he can find himself in painting again, but without the old anxieties and doubts. After Ryan Gold decides to show Sung Deok-mi his old paintings and begin his return to painting, their relationship has grown even deeper. Deok-mi now realizes that she is not just a support for Ryan, but an inspiration that helps him overcome his own fears. Ryan, in turn, sees Deok-mi not only as a talented curator, but also as a person who has changed his life and helped him rediscover himself in the art world. Her work at the gallery continues, and the new project Deok-mi is managing is an important milestone in her career. Her colleagues increasingly respect her for her professionalism, and Ryan watches how she handles her leadership responsibilities. Deok-mi feels confident, although the pressure is still high. She realizes that this project is her chance to prove that she can not only be a great mentor, but also successfully lead a team. Meanwhile, Ryan starts working on new paintings, inspired by Deok-mi's support. It is an important step for him to pick up his brushes again after such a long break. Despite the doubts that still linger in his soul, he begins to feel confident that he can express his emotions through art again. Deok-mi takes an interest in his progress every day, cheering him on and rejoicing in his successes. However, their personal life faces a new challenge. Ryan receives news that his birth mother, whom he hasn't heard from in a long time, is coming to town. He has mixed feelings about this news. On the one hand, he has always wanted to know more about her, but on the other hand, his past traumas have not yet fully healed. Deok-mi, realizing how hard it is for him to make this decision, supports him in meeting his mother and dealing with his inner feelings. When Ryan finally decides to meet his mother, it becomes an important step for him to reconcile with his past. The meeting turns out to be an emotional one. His mother tells him why she left him, and that her life has not turned out the way she had hoped. Ryan realizes that her leaving was forced, but that doesn't ease his pain. However, this encounter gives him a chance to close one of his old wounds and begin to live his life without that burden. Returning home, Ryan shares his emotions with Deok-mi. He says that meeting his mother has helped him realize that the past no longer has to control his life, and that he is now ready to move forward, focusing on the present and the future. Deok-mi supports him, knowing how important this moment was to him. She sees Ryan becoming stronger and more confident, and his fears are slowly going away. Their relationship continues to grow stronger, and now they begin to seriously discuss their future. Ryan does everything he can to make Deok-mi feel happy around him, and she in turn helps him regain faith in himself and his art. They begin to talk about how they see their life together in the future, and make plans for a future in which they will be together not only in their personal lives, but also in their work. At the gallery, work continues on the project, which is moving towards its final stage. Deok-mi faces the final challenges, but with the support of Ryan and the team, she successfully solves all the problems. This project becomes for her a symbol of her professional growth and personal success. She is now confident and knows that she can handle any challenge, both in her career and in her personal life. After an emotional reunion with his mother, Ryan Gold feels liberated from the weight of the past. His internal struggle is finally over, and he can now fully focus on the present and his future with Sung Deok-mi. Their relationship continues to grow and they are growing closer. For Deok-mi, this is also the moment when she begins to feel that their life together is becoming a reality. At this time, the gallery is finalizing the last preparations for the opening of a new project that Deok-mi has been working on for months. It's her big professional moment, and she feels she's coping with the pressure that has accompanied her all this time. Ryan, who sees her progress, is proud of her and supports her every step of the way. The opening of the exhibition becomes an important event not only for the gallery but also for Deok-mi personally. This is her first project as a manager, and she feels that she has met the expectations of both her colleagues and Ryan. Their relationship is getting more and more serious, and they are already talking openly about their future together. Deok-mi is no longer afraid to combine her personal life and professional career, as she now feels confident and supported by Ryan. Meanwhile, Cha Shi-an, who is still on friendly terms with Deok-mi, comes to the show to congratulate her on her success. He realizes that their connection no longer has the fan-favorite connotations that used to fill their relationship. He now sees her as an equal, as a professional and a friend, and this gives them both a chance to move to a new level of communication, without too many expectations. The final stage of their journey begins with the realization that Sung Deok-mi and Ryan Gold are now fully prepared for a life together filled with mutual support and trust. After the success of the exhibition that Deok-mi brilliantly completed, she feels more confident as a professional, and her personal life with Ryan has found stability and harmony. They no longer hide their relationship from their colleagues, and now all eyes are on their future. Ryan, inspired by the new stage of his life and his relationship with Deok-mi, is gradually returning to painting. He feels the strength and confidence to create again. His work now reflects not only his inner feelings, but also the new emotions associated with the love and support he has received from Deok-mi. This period becomes a time of renewal for him, and he sees this as a time of personal as well as professional growth. Meanwhile, Deok-mi realizes that her fan life is no longer an obstacle to happiness. She has learned to find a balance between her passion for the idol world and her serious relationship with Ryan. Now she no longer needs to hide or feel guilty about her hobbies. On the contrary, she sees it as a part of herself that helps her to be whole and real. The final moments of the story show how Deok-mi and Ryan are heading towards a future together. They plan exhibitions together, discuss possible projects, and dream about how they will support each other in their careers. Deok-mi continues to grow as a professional in the art world. and Ryan starts painting again, finding not only joy in it, but also a way to express his love. Now that the trials are over, they look at life with confidence. Their love becomes a source of strength, and they both know that together they can overcome any difficulties. The final scenes show them enjoying every moment, realizing that the future they are building is based on honesty, trust, and understanding.